Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to all the chapters. I'm your girl, K Simone, known as Kimmy, Kim. You know, it's me. Build the brand, live the life. Today, I'll be sharing the real story of how I went from a failed clothing business, online business, to discovering my actual calling through a health crisis. This is not the polished version, y'all. This is the real one. Imagine having a regular diet. You can eat anything that you want, except for the things that you don't like. You know you won't eat those because you don't like them. Why would you eat them? Okay. Suddenly, you had Cinnabon, cola champagne, and big red gum. And you wake up in the morning and you cannot speak. How do you know you can't speak? Because you don't have anyone to speak to. But you went to some gig, and the person at the gig speaking to you, you speaking back, but you're not actually speaking back because you became allergic to the things that you ate the day before, and now your throat is locked off and you cannot speak. Scary, but true. So this happened to me personally. Happened in the early 2000s. It did happen. It was very scary and very real. But that experience taught me something, that not everything that's available to you is for you. Anyway, let me tell you now about my online clothing store, SAMSOA Styles, that fail. The name SAMSOA Styles came from a personal notation. So I was trying to decide on the name of the business, and I was powwowing with, at the time, my second my second grandchild. Was powwowing with her. So it's like, what are we gonna name the business? She was like, I don't know, but I think you could use our names. I'm like, well, that'll be too many words. She says, okay. I said, oh, I know. Have a great idea. She was like, what? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you. But once I get the business name, once it's available and I get it registered and licensed, I'll share it with you. So the name was SAMSOA. And onto SAMSOA, I add styles. So SAMSOA is, it was at the time, Sierra, Asher, Maya, Shania, Aria, and no, oh, Odari and Aria. So those are the letters of Samsol. And Styles, instead of spelling it Y-E, I spelled it with the Z. But that's how we came up with Samsol Styles. And it actually is a great name. It's unique. It's a representation of my grandkids. So if ever you're trying to find a name for a business, that's not a bad way of looking at it. So Samsung Styles went on for a while. I believed in it. I invested my time. I invested my money. I dedicated myself to it. I worked on it night and day. I lost sleep over it. And eventually, I had to close it down because it didn't go as planned. But while I was running SAMSOA Styles, I decided that I need to learn digital marketing. So I enrolled in a marketing program with NJIT. While SAMSOA Style was doing its thing online, I was enrolled at NJIT learning how to market the business well. Also for SAMSOA Style, I even have the bright idea to reach out to an influencer and send her pieces that she can use. And for the pieces, I asked that she send us content whenever she wore the pieces that we shared. And also to tag us and give us shout outs whenever available. And this worked. We got a lot of hits from we even had customers reaching out from Ghana to ask if we had clothing in their size and if we ship out of the country. Well, we at the time we only shipped to the USA. The farthest place we shipped to was Canada. And that wasn't really a sale, that was for free because our influencer, she lived in Ghana, but she was Canadian and she was flying to Canada at the time. We were now we strike up the collaboration, so it was good for me to ship her the items in Canada. That worked out well because she was close by, but I'm not gonna ship clothing to Ghana, South Africa. No way. But anyway, that was great while it lasted. But in theory, you live and you learn. I was learning because the store needed it, and the education became a foundation for everything else that came next after that. So, after learning digital marketing, I realized I can help other people market their businesses. So, that's how SAMSOA Digital Marketing Forum was born. It was working well. I had clients, I had momentum, I had a gig to help on the side, and for a moment things were actually coming together. But then something happened. The 40-hour per week gig went to 20 hours, and 20 hours wasn't enough to handle myself and my employee and keep SAMSOA running. Because SAMSOA had expenses. SAMSOA have expenses, I have expenses, the employee have expenses. The 40-hour gig and the clients that we had wasn't enough to cover everything. So I had to let the employee go and I take care of my expenses partially as best as I can. So I paused SAMSOA ultimately, not completely. But during the pause, SAMSOA was hacked by someone, which was a big disappointment to me because to this day I haven't rebuilt or reviewed anything to I'm making a decision on rebuilding the store. I'm still paying WordPress for a monthly subscription to keeping our domain active. But other than that, do I want to keep SAMSOA Digital Marketing alive? Yes, I do. I plan to revamp SAMSOA Digital Marketing by providing digital products on our stand store, and that will be how SAMSOA Digital Marketing Firm will represent itself and help people that need it, that needs us still. While having to pause SAMSOA, though the pause was unavoidable, it did broke something in me. So during the stress and the financial pressure, my body started reacting again. My body is not only reacting from the stress and the financial pressure, my body is also going through perimenopause. While the time my throat was locked off where I couldn't speak for how many hours, there was another time during my peri, I was losing so much blood during my cycle that, let's just say, my body's supposed to have 13 or 12, say 12.5, 12.5 of whatever, 12.5 of units of blood or cc's, right? 12.5. My body just had 3 point something. My doctor called me up. Kim, yes, Dr. Juliana. Are you okay? I think so. Why? What's going on? You need to sit down. As a matter of fact, no, don't sit down. Get someone to take you to the emergency room right away. You need a blood transfusion. I'm like, what do you mean I need a blood transfusion? I don't do that. I don't do blood transfusions. That's against my beliefs. Okay, well, are there alternatives? Are there things that I can do to help myself? Because the blood transfusion is not going to happen. Okay, well, since you haven't dropped down with the level your blood is right now, I think the alternatives wouldn't hurt you. You'll be fine with the alternatives. So the alternatives were suggested, and I followed them to the T. 2 weeks later, my blood levels were coming up and I was getting better. While that was happening, my eczema was flaring up. I still can't handle the heat in the summer or the heat during the winter. My eczema flare up, the hot flashes, it all just working together. Yeah, even some foods. Well, like I said earlier, the food thing start from way back when. But now the food thing, it triggers my stomach. I get breakouts. So with all of that occurring, even certain clothing started affecting my skin as well. So after realizing that certain food, certain clothing, certain products are not agreeing with my body, I was going to, my body was telling me that something was wrong. So I figure, let me do something to take care of this thing that's happening with my body. So I let the employee go, having a good income, to not being able to afford your own expenses. My mood hit rock bottom. So once my mood hit rock bottom, I needed something to uplift my mood. That's how I started making candles. And that's where MAGNUSLUX came in. So MAGNUSLUX, meaning Magnus, bright, and Lux, meaning light, I started making candles to uplift my mood. I decided that with all the chemical and paraffin and candles with the color and the dyes and all these things, nope, I'm not going to use that because I am going through, my body is going through some things. And those things, certain things do not agree with my body, so I need things that agrees with my body. So I decided to make my own candles. My candles were uplifting, nice smelling, mood changing, to say the least. They are, I won't say they were, they are unique in their own way, uplifting, and they could change anyone's mood. They could uplift your room, uplift your home, bring your family together, because you'll have something to talk about. It's that type of product Magnus Lux's candles are. So since the candles were doing so great, I decided I'll add other products. So Magnus Lux is an eco-friendly plant-based brand designed to help change your mood. And it worked. I got out of my mood. I started getting sales. Eventually, I did a launch. I did group sets for the relaunch. I started adding products beyond candles. I built a collection. Body butter, diffusers, sugar scrubs, home and linen mist, and our signature product, Arofix Started Mist. I am creating solutions for the exact problems my body was having. Initially, though, MAGNUSLUX products did not have preservatives. So I've come to the realization that preservatives can and are also chemical free via plant-based preservatives. Preservatives are needed to apply proper shelf life to any product, don't matter the brand. So MAGNUSLUX new and improved products all include preservatives. MAGNUSLUX and SAMSOA is moving forward, and both will be back stronger and better. MAGNUSLUX is a calling. I can say it resoundingly from my chest. MAGNUSLUX is a calling. It's scaling, and I am loving it. So that's my story. This is why I built two brands at once, not because I'm superhuman, but because I learned marketing to survive an online clothing store that I ultimately had to end, and because I created beauty to heal myself, because when life took everything, I built something that works. If you're listening and you're in your own dark place right now, whether it's financial, physical, or emotional, know that what you create to save yourself can become the thing that saves other people too. So this is it, y'all. Listen for us again next week on all the chapters where we'll be discussing the luxury mindset, why your business should feel as good as it performs. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Build the brand, live the life. I'm KSIMONE. And hey, in case you were wondering, for a discounted bottle of Arofix, our signature product, use the code REALSTORY. When you check out for the product, use the code REALSTORY and you should have a 20% discount. All right. Bye.